D-Money Show. Don't be a clown, don't sleep. Gotta let him have it.
Welcome to the D-Money Show. Fuck.
Welcome to the D-Money Show in studio with Jamal English.
Yo, thank you for having
Jamal,
me, Dan.
look, you're crushing it, man. You got EDM Network, and I saw you were in the Inc. 5000, and you were closer to 1 than you were 5,000. What number are you?
At 33, yeah.
33.
Yeah, ranked 33 this last year on the Inc. 5000. You know,
How does that happen? Walk me through it. How do you get from, like, when did you start this company?
so officially when we incorporated, it was back in 2018. You know, prior to that, it was kind of a part of our insurance business, was where we facilitated most of the marketing and media buying. But from 2018, just the explosive growth that we've had has really kind of been predicated on like the early success we had in the insurance business. And then making that transition slowly, it's just compounded every single
So
year.
you started off with insurance as your main vertical.
Yeah. So prior to getting into the media space, our whole background was insurance sales. So we sold insurance products such as final expense, Medicare, ACA. We were doing that before everybody.
Wow.
And I started media buying back in like 2012. So
2012, when you were 13?
I was young.
Oh
I was
my
definitely
gosh.
young. And I was doing it initially for my family businesses. So come from a background of entrepreneurs. So my dad owned restaurants, limousine businesses, car washes.
Wow.
He was actually heavy out here in LA
Yeah,
too.
that hustle. That's where you get it from.
He was a hustler, you
love
know.
it.
Actually, one of my guys, he actually was in the car with me. My dad called me. He's like, man, I thought I was talking to Jamal. Because, like, my dad has that energy. And
Nice.
he's always been a hustler. And I've always seen the power of being able to connect with people, talk to people, just do business. And I've always been in love with that.
So, all right, so you started doing the insurance thing. You figured out lead gen.
Yeah.
So you figured out how to get the lead. At the time, were you doing calls yet, or did it start off as just form fills?
All form fills. So I was a part of Facebook's beta, like ad buying platform, where they were just starting to introduce their native form fills.
Wow.
So I was able to get, like, at the time I was running predominantly final expense as my core vertical. I was generating leads for less than $2. Like what most people are spending to acquire like direct mail leads at the time, that was my customer acquisition cost.
Wow.
So
That's great.
like
And wait, how did you learn this world?
it was an accident, ironically, because like I got introduced to it through ASW. That's why that's my favorite show. Like that's my favorite show that exists in this media space, because I kind of got introduced to like, oh, there's companies that are willing to pay for this more than what I can generate it for.
So what year did you go to your first affiliate summit West?
2013.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was probably when we had Nelly or Big Boy or somebody.
Yeah, it was definitely not what it is today, but it was my introduction to the business. I kind of got to see the magnitude of how many brands and advertisers existed within the ecosystem that were trying to buy this stuff. So that was super powerful. And one thing that I just kind of learned like very fast is the power of leverage and understanding like what customer acquisition costs are, how those equate to value for advertisers, what they're looking for, and how to make it a win-win relationship for everybody.
Wow. So you start off at Affiliate Summit, you realize how big the pool of marketers are, and then you decide that you want to make a network. Is that when the network started of bringing people in to buy and sell?
No. So the network came ironically because when we were doing our agency business and we were just buying all of our own internal media, we didn't really have affiliates or stuff like that happening or working with us. I was doing all the media buying. I didn't need nobody else. It wasn't until we sold that business and we started our first call center. That is when we kind of got introduced to like the affiliate world and having publishers. And
You started your own call center.
Well, yeah, we started our first call center to be able to close business directly ourselves. So we were doing this for all the insurance lines, Medicare, ACA, final expense. We did it for all of those. And then we had one or two problems at the time. It was either too many leads or not enough. And this was my my kryptonite because I couldn't figure out this balance. And ultimately, I looked at Rita and I said, Rita, if we're going to have a problem, we're going to have too many versus not enough.
Right.
And I was like, everything that we can't consume ourselves, let's just reach out to everybody in the business we already know and see if they want to be able to buy that traffic from us. And that's when the network business really started. And that's where we started to really be able to scale the volume of production that we were internally consuming. And what that allowed us to do is to infinitely scale our sales force in conjunction with the media. And none of those were codependent on each other. And then ultimately, we got to a point where the media business was superseding what we were doing on the agency side. And we also saw conflicts of interest potentially getting exposed in the business where, all right, I'm closing this product, but I also have advertisers buying the same product from me. That may seem ingenuine, So we want to keep everything above board and be honest and transparent about that stuff. So we completely divested out of all of our call centers and agency businesses and went all in on the media.
So when you started, you were the media buyer, and then you decided to bring in other media buyers because you figured out this cool little way to buy and sell.
Well, here's the thing. It's like on the side that we sit at now, every dollar we spend is profitable. It's a very different business. And, sometimes if you're buying media directly, not every dollar is profitable all the time. And it also takes away from the scale that I could have diversifying across multiple different, industry verticals and product types because I can only do so much. And being able to get true leverage and access to more capital and credit lines becomes very, very important in terms of being able to scale allocation because, I may only have $1 million, but you may also have $1 million. This person may also have $1 million. This person may also have $1 million. And that's where we could start to really scale up the budgets and be able to really make sure that we could deliver advertisers exactly what they're looking for.
Wow, that's incredible. So now you have this incredible network that you've built where you're looking for advertisers and publishers.
Yeah. So we operate on both sides of the equation. So advertisers are those that are looking to come buy direct media from publishers that are originating that media. So those are advertisers. And sometimes, these words get confused as far as depending on who you're talking to.
Right.
Advertisers are buyers. They're the ones that are looking to consume the media or make the placements or set
It used
up
to
the
be just
campaigns.
one word. It was just affiliate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now you got like different kinds of affiliates, and you got buyers, and you got it's crazy.
Yeah.
So-
And, affiliates and publishers, it's the same word.
Yeah.
It's just interchangeable. Sometimes, like, the biggest motto is, like, how's the media getting generated? And we kind of break things up into those type of categories. We have industries, we have verticals, we have product types. And then when we think about how we fulfill those product types, we think about promotion types. So you got online promotion types, offline promotion types, and then we got mobile promotion types. So you kind of can choose like what specific method you're going to use to be able to acquire those customers and, get that traffic to wherever destination you're trying to drive it to.
So you literally just kind of built the ultimate playground for what you would have, the younger Jamal who got started in 2013 or whatever. You built something that kid would look at and be like, I don't need to go anywhere else because I could buy everything here. I could sell everything here and not even have to do anything really, but like shell out the money and collect the money and get
Exactly.
it back.
And it's more so like I literally built this product for what I really wish I would have had. And that's the hardest part is like, you don't know what you don't know. And like the hardest thing for any new business is be able to have predictability. What I want to be able to teach everybody is how to turn their business into a formula. Once we can turn your business into a formula, like anybody can be 33. You know what I'm saying? Because it's an input-output equation, and that's how you grow.
Fastest growing company, 33, not age.
Yes.
I got you. I got you.
Yes, exactly.
I'd like to be 33. I'll take either one. I could go back and be 33 again. But anyway, all All right, now the part that I love is now that you have this incredible setup, you found that other people like myself could benefit by white labeling a network rather than starting my own network from scratch.
100%.
So if I know media buyers, affiliates, publishers, everything,
Yeah.
I could just use my network, which is my net worth, and put them into EDM. But instead of it looking like EDM network, mine is marketingfirm.com.
Yeah.
So when you go to marketingfirm.com, I take them in a different way. So now I could brand as my own network, but it's really powered by EDM network.
Exactly. So like the way that I've kind of thought about this business and what I really, really don't like about this business is how secretive everybody is. You know, everything's a secret.
Well, they don't want to give their secret sauce, but
There is no secret sauce.
You're giving all the nuggets, for free.
Yeah, but the secret sauce is the process. You know what I'm saying? Like what most people don't realize is like when only your relationships are your value, you have no real value that you're really bringing. Like the thing that the software will provide for any network or company is infrastructure. Now you're providing infrastructure to a business that becomes tangible for them, that they can use for everything and how they operate their business. And that's what's real. You know, like the relationship is extremely valuable, but like I want the transparency to be the first aspect of the business, because like you may be surprised to know that nobody's generating 10,000 calls a day by themselves. It is just not possible.
So how do they do it?
You have to be able to have the network effect, and you have to be able to have placements across multiple different platforms, and you got to be able to use everybody's expertise where it exists. And that's the only way that you could really drive scale, especially in one isolated industry and vertical. Like you're going to be very constrained yourself because like you got to think about it. Google, Facebook, none of these platforms want to be constrained to one big buyer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want to be diversified. And that's where you truly get leverage. They'll artificially put a governor on you without you even knowing it. And it'll just start to throttle where your spend is on a daily basis. And you can't control some of those variables.
So speaking of variables, what are you finding the best success with when you buy? I mean, let's say like Facebook, YouTube.
It really just depends on like what the product type is specifically. So when I think about products, we're talking about live transfers, inbound calls, form fills, traffic. If I'm talking about just straight traffic, like my number one method of acquiring those consumers is email.
Still, huh?
It's
we all started off in email.
It's still
never
king.
left. You're
it
still
never
doing it.
left. Email is booming. You know, there's intrinsic risk with some of these other, platforms like SMS. Is high risk right now.
Yeah. I mean, because you could get all your numbers shut down and you're being compliant, but you get one complaint and then you get frozen on all your mids. And you're like, okay, now what do I do?
Exactly. Like traceback requests are very real. So you have different exposure points that are going to put you in a very vulnerable position.
Now, have you also experienced the people out there that are just going after with attorneys to try to get a quick settlement out of you?
Professional litigators?
Yeah, they're professional. It's like a whole, like they have Facebook groups out there.
No, it's a business.
They communicate.
It's a business.
So to mail or SMS or take calls even, or to call out rather.
Yeah, so it'll be
there's
mostly
a risk.
Yeah, it'll be all the outbound actions. Any outbound action, it has a high litigation risk.
Which is why the safest lane to stay in right now is in pay-per-call.
Yeah, so it'll be click-to-call, consumer-initiated inbounds. It'll be form fills. It'll be traffic. You know, the good thing about traffic is like advertisers are paying for a consumer that goes through their asset and flow. So whatever your brand or asset is and whatever your consumer journey is what the conversion trigger is. So like that's very, very low risk because they're going through your flow. You know, how those customers are initially getting outreach, that becomes another variable. And we put the mechanisms in place to be able to help advertisers control those variables. But like it is super important now more than ever to make sure that compliance is there. You're keeping track of actually how origination methods are actually done. And, you know, the opt-in stuff now, you're starting to see it get taken to a whole nother level. And, you know, I've been thinking about the technology in this space that needs to be evolved. And the way that we're building the ecosystem isn't just for advertisers, publishers, or, you know, media brokers, as we call them. It's also meant for, you know, enterprise companies that want to be able to manage their duplicate and saturation suppression. Like all of these type of things is where like the ecosystem really starts to tie itself together, and we can deliver some of these elements that advertisers have blind spots for. You know, like you'll never be able to eliminate the risk 100%, but you can mitigate it. You know
That's
what I'm
smart.
saying?
Yeah,
You
that's
can
very
mitigate
smart.
it. And
So with that in mind, so what you try to do is you try to keep your own ecosystem alive, but rather than outsourcing the parts, you farm build it. I guess you would say, like on your own little tech farm. So like you don't need to use a call gurus who's like the best call center out there. You could build your own call center and do it the way you want. And then as far as tracking platforms, it'd be easy to use TrackDrive or Ringba or Finexa, but you have your own, right?
exactly. So everything's fully integrated. Like it's a consolidated ecosystem. You really don't have to go anywhere else to use anything else. You know, the other side of our business is global solutions. This is a big, big, big product for us. And this is where we're connecting these businesses directly with the resources themselves. You know, like the hard part is like there's a lot of mediaries in the space, and I find the best results come from where there's direct communication, and we can eliminate some of those, you know, telephone and friction points that, you know, middlemen create in the middle sometimes. And, you know, that's kind of where if we could connect the resources directly with the companies that are looking for those resources, you know, everything will be a whole lot more seamlessly, you know, integrated. Operations will be more effective, and it'll just be a better experience for everybody.
So, how do you maintain the balance in a network of buyers and sellers? Before you mentioned that that you'd rather have extra that you're not using with leads, but now you have a whole bunch of people depending on you every day, going to your marketplace inside edmleadnetwork.com.
Yeah.
And once they're there, you got to make sure that it evens out. So, how do you do that? How do you make sure there's enough for everybody?
And this is heavily where the media broker platform comes into play. So a lot of these other networks and companies that are trying to start their own agency to be able to onboard advertisers, onboard publishers, there's never enough. And we're always operating in a balance. And same thing where we always wanted to have too much and not enough. That's the same way we feel about allocation. So advertisers that come to our platform, our target is to be able to fulfill no less than 80% of whatever their target is. 80%. And that will always give us enough throttle room for any of our originating publishers that are operating on any of these campaigns or trying to fulfill any of these verticals that they have allocation for. Is we know based off of our caps, what we give you, there's more than enough where we'll be able to consume that traffic.
Wow, you're always delivering. I
Gotcha.
see it. I know a lot of people are using you. I have no idea how you make it all work. You make it look easy, but I guess over time, if you staff up, right, you have a good team
Yeah,
behind you.
definitely. Like I have the best team.
Yeah, no, I've
And-
seen that. It's impressive.
And the big thing there is like we have people that give a fuck, genuinely. They give a fuck, and that energy is kept sustaining at all times. If anybody's going to join this ecosystem, they're going to care as much as I do about what the mission is.
Yeah.
And the mission is make sure we take care of these people.
The other thing that I've noticed about EDM Network that's a little different than most people is that you really do care about the hand-holding process. So as soon as you onboard somebody, there's a weekly meeting that
Daily.
they could go to. Daily meetings now.
Daily now.
Woo!
Yeah, we're doing it daily.
So for those who don't know, basically you have a question, you just started your own white label for EDM, or let's just say you're an affiliate or you're a publisher, you're an advertiser. All the above can go into these meetings, ask you questions directly and your team
Yeah,
and daily.
yeah.
And just knowing that they can get those answers right away in real time is huge.
And that's the thing is like we used to do it weekly. That just wasn't enough. And what I started to realize is like the touch points matter. And, not everybody is going to always ask the questions when they get in front of a big group. But the people that do ask those questions, they're going to ask them often. And the more that we can do the meetings and have those conversations, the more reassurance everybody's going to get, more answers everybody's going to get. It just helps everybody.
Yeah.
And, I do think that's super important to make sure that we have these touch points. We communicate. We actually go after exactly what it is that everybody needs. Because here's the thing. It creates opportunities within the ecosystem. So think about this. You bring on an advertiser, right? And you're like, all right, I have all this demand. I have this advertiser. I'm getting so much already through the existing queue. Hey, everybody else, I need to fulfill this advertiser. Go get it. And then they go ahead and they have another opportunity to monetize themselves by bringing in the fulfillment that we're already having distribution for.
Wow.
So it's always a need, and you're always going to find new opportunities every day to get something new. And like the name of the game is to just get tapped in, get active, and just always have conversations. And historically, I'll take you through like what the journey was and what really kind of made me develop the software the way it was, because before it used to take us 28 days to onboard a new advertiser. So if a new brand or any company that wanted to buy media wanted to work with us, it used to take us 28 days
Wow.
to get them onboarded and get them live in the queue.
And then by that time, it would be hard to service that client because they're probably looking for other deals.
Yeah, it's that. And most of these advertisers are very large enterprises, so they do have a strenuous process anyway. But most of it is the bureaucracy and going back and forth.
So wait, how long does it take you now?
Less than 24 hours.
Ooh, nice.
Less than 24 hours.
So what sped up that process?
Being able to have everything fully documented that takes them through the whole journey. Because when you think about it, like every question an advertiser has ever asked me is documented in the system in the format in which they asked me. So advertiser asked me, all right, what do you have available? All right, click here. All right, how much does it cost? Click next.
It's just that easy.
And that's the name of the game that we're playing. And what I started to realize is that we rather monetize traffic than not monetize traffic. So what I find with a lot of affiliates and publishers in the market right now is sometimes they throw away opportunities, setting these artificial barriers in their mind and in their systems that restrict them from opportunity. So let's say, for example, you're used to selling calls for $50 a call, right? You're selling calls for $50. I have another offer that's only willing to pay you 40, right? And you have your system set up to not accept less than 50. And if you got no answer on that line that has $50, you route that call nowhere. Wouldn't you rather take $40 than no bucks?
Absolutely.
That's the name of the game. And this is where we want to give them as broad of a queue as possible, where you can get bids from every advertiser that's willing to pay for that traffic.
Wow.
If you have no placement for, there's some mechanism in the queue that is willing to monetize that media. It may not be the best offer, but it's something which is way better than nothing in terms of how we're actually trying to keep up with the pace of production. And like, this is the game that I wanted to create because advertisers want flexibility. Like, some of them are used to paying a very specific price for a lead. And if we have a different price that's just a fixed price that we don't deviate from, we may lose the opportunity to have access to that distribution. But that distribution is valuable at some level, whether it's third in priority, fifth in priority, whatever we structure the waterfall as. But we want to be able to make sure that we don't turn away that business and we allow those advertisers to set custom bids. So when you set those custom bids, you can place yourself in the queue, and then the queue automatically optimizes itself based off of performance. And we're looking at EPC performance across the board. So we're looking at, if it's a traffic campaign, what's the earning per click? If we're looking at a call campaign, what's the earning per call? And that is where our algorithm is working on the back end to be able to prioritize the contracts as far as where stuff gets routed to. So sometimes you may see a lower bid, but the EPCs are way higher because the billing rate's better, and they handle the calls better, and they convert better. And those variables matter just as much as far as what the front end bid is.
But a lot of people usually look at the price of everything instead of the EPC.
Exactly.
That's smart. All All right, so let's shift a little bit. Let's talk about trade shows.
Yeah.
I see you at all the affiliate summits. I see you at the Lead Generation Worlds, Contact IO.
Yeah.
I believe LeadsCon too.
We're 40 shows a year.
40 shows.
40 shows a year.
Whew. So your favorite one is the Affiliate Summit West
Yeah, ASW is number one for me personally.
because everybody's there. It's like the Super Bowl of trade shows.
I say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also look very good because you and I have teamed up now the last few years where you're the big sponsor of the affiliate ball every time.
Yeah.
And we've had some great times with Fat Joe.
Awesome time.
Method Man. And
Yeah.
this time we just did Harry Mack. So seeing your brand get seen in front of that many people, usually it doesn't work right away. But you stuck with it with me. So you see an effect after a while on marketing of repetition. So the more you get seen at the trade show, the more times you have a trade show booth, the bigger your logo is on the biggest stage, biggest party. Are you seeing the benefits from that over and over?
Oh yeah, network effect is real, and this is a relationship business in a lot of ways where it's not what you know, it's who you know, and sometimes some of those associations like, hey, can you get me in the party, or how do I get to the party, or
That's how
what's
I
going
designed
on?
it. It was always about that hookup.
Exactly, and that's
Yeah.
the name of the game. It's like everybody's looking for the plug.
You know, it's funny because when I started the ball, I'll say the ball because before it was affiliate ball, it was the players ball, and I started that in '99. And the whole design of this format was not only to give the branding for you, but it was also to create my little pool, of people that this is the hot ticket. And I had Snoop Dogg a couple of years in, perform in 2001. And the design was, I want people like you, the big ballers, to come to me and say, yo, man, I'd really love to meet Snoop Dogg. Can I get backstage for that? How do I get backstage?
Yeah.
So I create this kind of vibe, right? But even for you being the big sponsor, it's your party. It's not my party. Like a lot of people give me too much credit. It's not my party. It's the sponsor's party. So now you have that to leverage. You
Yeah.
have the big table. You got your bottles popping. You have access to go backstage.
Yeah.
You get it now. So like it's the relationships that really boost you further than the average company. You care.
Yeah, and let me tell you this story, Darren, because this is why parties matter so much to me. So, like, when you talk about when I really started buying media, it was for my dad's nightclub. And, he gave me Sunday nights when I was in high school to be able to host parties.
So you got to keep the door.
I got a piece of the door. And, my dad was like, all right, Sundays are dead for us. It's summertime, host a kid's phone party. And great idea.
Right. Bring all the parents. So
Exactly.
That
I was
they spend
like,
money.
man, that's a great idea. I was like, yeah, I can get some people to come out here.
How old were you?
Now, mind you, I was probably 15 at the time.
Young entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Love it.
And mind you, like, I've been working since I was 7. I didn't really have a social life, right? But, I knew people in cool. I was social, all that
You
type of
made up
stuff.
for that. You caught up quick once you met me.
Yeah.
I keep you out.
But what's so funny is like, all right, so when I started this, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to market this every day, tell everybody at school, everybody's going to show up. So first week, I'm posting every day or I'm posting on Twitter. I'm letting people know at school, all this type of stuff to come to the party, come to the club. And guess how many people show up that first week?
1, 2. Was it bad?
It was 12.
12,
12 people
okay.
showed up. And granted, this club probably holds about 2,000 people at capacity.
That's the worst.
Bad.
Oh my God.
Bad. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm done with this. So next week, I'm like, all right, I'm going to post every day. I'm telling everybody at school. I'm going to have a teacher time.
Right.
I was like, all right, I'm going to do all of this stuff. Guess how many people showed up that next week?
Judging by how you are, I would think you came back with a vengeance and got at least 50.
8.
You got 8 people?
Less people.
Oh, yeah, I'm saying a vengeance, and I'm talking 50 in a 2,000 capacity
Oh,
place.
man, it was bad.
But you didn't give up there.
No. So I was sitting there that night, sitting at the bar, and I was thinking to myself, like, man, why is nobody here? And then I'm just scrolling on Twitter, and then I see this post from one of the dudes at school, and he's like, "Hey, party over here. I'm gonna be playing." And he was a DJ. And I leave my place, I leave the venue, and I go to this house. Everybody is there. And I'm like, man. All right. So then I messaged him on Twitter, and I think it was a couple days later. I was like, hey, my dad owns this club. Come over here. I'm hosting a party. I'd love to have you DJ. And he comes to the club. He's expecting, this old guy, this manager at the club. But then I come around the corner, and, I'm like, hey, come in. Let me show you what I'm trying to do. I walk him through it. And I'm like, look, I'll pay you $100 to DJ this event. And, let's fill it up. And he's like, okay, that's a great deal. Because nobody was paying him to DJ at the time.
Was he also in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also in high school. And then he had a friend with him. And I had these stacks of cards, big stacks of cards that I had printed out that I was passing out at school to bring everybody in. And I gave him I gave his friend a stack of cards. And I was like, hey, for every person that comes in that brings your initial stack, I'll give you $5.
Nice.
And that was what he got for the door. And he said, okay. And guess how many people showed up that next week?
9.
800.
Wow, 800.
800.
Woo.
People were driving down
So
from
you
Denver.
filled it up. I mean, for a 2,000 capacity venue, 800 is still a great crowd. It fills up.
Great
the room.
crowd.
Yeah.
Great crowd. It
Wow.
filled out the event. And this is where I
So
saw.
what was your takeaway? What
Look.
did you learn from this?
Look, power of the network. All right? It's the power of a network. I can't do everything by myself. And I don't know what I don't know, Darren.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But you know that this guy knew how to get the people. So there's the network part.
Exactly. And that's the same way with pubs. Hey,
And you did like an affiliate payout, like $5.
Exactly.
per head.
Exactly. That was the introduction.
Welcome to affiliate marketing, folks.
that was the beginning.
Wow.
And like from there, and throwing on more and more of those events for the rest of the summer sold out. Like we threw the biggest events, and I saw this is the power of being able to have people that you can leverage. And that leverage is so powerful because it just opened us way more opportunities than what I could have did by myself.
Yeah.
Trying to do everything by myself, trying to do all the marketing by
So how
myself.
many people you got working for you now?
Corporate is roughly just under 90. I work corporate at EDM.
That's pretty lean for such a highly ranked company in the Inc. 5000.
Yeah, but when we talk about contractors, we got over 2,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
Okay. So is there anything else that's on the horizon? Something that you're excited about launching soon?
Yeah, so Global Solutions, EDM Global Solutions, that's available now. This is available for companies and recruiters that are looking for talent and freelancers that are also looking for opportunities to be able to find direct work with businesses, technology, customer service, sales and marketing, administrative support. Those are all the categories that we service there. And then also the broker white label system, like yourself, marketing firm. Like all of these are great opportunities for anybody to be able to monetize with us, be able to get another avenue and to be able to monetize, make more money, broker your relationships, and just kind of find more opportunity than what you already have.
That's amazing. Well, you're crushing it. I just love being around you. I just hope that some of that success trickles off of you to me. So I'll just follow you real tight.
Now, vice versa. Now, I got a couple questions for you, Darren.
Ooh, let's hear it.
I do got a couple questions for you. So, all right, your background is so unique because of kind of how you got started. What were some of the core methods that you guys used to acquire customers back in the day?
Back in the day.
Back in the day, like specifically
I'll
in the
tell you
adult space.
Specifically. All right. So back in the early days, there was the pay-per-click model. We all know how that works. But as far as customers, we used to pay out the first month of whatever the rebills are. And sometimes we'd pay out the first month plus a little more. So if you were billing at $30 a month, we would pay out $35 to $40 up front. And then, we would keep the customer and the affiliate would get that super high one-time payout, right? But back in the early days, retention was amazing because this internet thing was kind of new and people still didn't know how to cancel properly. But as long as you saw it was under $30 a month, it was like a utility bill. So they just stayed on for like 6 months to a year. So I think in the early days, it was all built around that model, that 1 month up front. You get the first month and maybe a little bit more. And then some people would do $45 payouts. Oh my God. Now with that came shaving for the very first time on the internet, where people learned that they can shave sales.
What do you mean?
Well, remember how before you were talking about a price being $50 and then, don't turn away that $40 one because
Yeah.
at least you're going to get something. So when the shave was in back in the day, you're relying on a stat program by a third party that maybe could be tweaked by the owner of the program at the time. So that, maybe 90% of those sales are actually going
Reported.
through and that other 10%. So shaving started with greed back in the early. I was never a part of anything like that, but it was a problem because, you think you're getting this 1 month up front or 2 months up front, but are you really?
Yeah.
The shave was in. So then we all learned about honesty and integrity the hard way. So then programs were built a little bit better since then. But yeah, I think that in the early days, it was a model based on, we would have like nowadays people have offers, right? So you would start a network and an affiliate network and you're carrying other people's products. You're carrying their offers. Back in the early days, you would own your own offer and keep that residual. That was
So
the
let
big
me ask you
difference.
about that specifically, Darren. So when you think about like that entire ecosystem and what exists, do you think it's better to own the infrastructure or, to drive the production? What do you think is more
I think
valuable?
owning it would be better. Because look, I'm going to tell you otherwise. 833. No, man, I don't know. It's overrated. You could use anybody's stats, No, I think if you could own everything, you would rather own it. Obviously, because you built it to convert, you built it to pay out, and you want to make sure. Like if I was a race car driver, I would want like the ultimate Ferrari, Lamborghini.
But think about like the different like offers you guys were running back in the day.
Mhm.
Would you have rather built out all the tube sites yourself and kind of hosted all of that stuff yourself and collected the subscriptions and done all of that instead of just driving the affiliate traffic?
That's a good question. Well, the tube sites kind of crushed the whole industry back in the early days because everything was based on content.
Yeah.
So as soon as the tube sites came out, they were like stealing content by pretending like it was this guy Joe who uploaded something, and then if you got to shut somebody down, it's Joe
Joe.
getting shut down, never the tube site. So that was kind of like the end of the gold rush era was when the tube sites came out, because back in the early days, and by the way, we didn't really spell it out. I talked roundabout about it. It was the adult internet that paved the way for everybody.
Yeah.
It was like, that's everything. Cause that's where we learned about processing, click-throughs, how to get traffic, how to niche traffic, how to pay out on traffic. So, why don't we just address the elephant in the room? It was the adult industry that really paved the way for everything.
Everything.
And don't hate the marketer, hate the game. I was just there at the time. I fell into it by accident because I was just a guy trying to do my thing.
Tell us that accident.
Oh my
Darren.
God. Well, I would. I just got saved by a ringtone. My parking meter saying, you got to get out of here. We're not going to talk
That's
about
God. That's
Yeah.
God.
I don't know that I
man.
could get into it. I don't know. They're trying to cut me off.
No, that's a sign.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, then we should stop there. Oh, man.
But in all fairness, the rev share model was the other way. So whether you paid out, that 1 month up front and then keep the customer, the other way people did it on a budget was we'll just pay you 50% of all the sales.
Lifetime.
So, lifetime, yeah, for as long as that customer stays a member. And it would last 6 months to a year. So at $30 a month or $40 a month or $20, it was a great revenue stream. So
Yeah.
like back in the, but nowadays we can learn from the way we set it up back in the early days, because if you could have your own offers, you would make a ton more money. So like, I think that's where people are going to start going soon, is instead of carrying a whole bunch of offers of other people, you take all the risk and then that person screws you and you still have an affiliate to pay out. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You got to pay out your affiliate. So I don't know. In the future, I would see more people owning their own offers and building on that. That's how I would do it.
It's a big priority, but if here's my perspective on it, and and I go back and forth on this all the time, Darren. Like this is a real fight because it's like some of these products, I'd rather close them. Like I can definitely close these things, but when you think about the gold rush and all these different industries and verticals that exist right now, the best position to be in isn't necessarily closing the business. And most of the people that made money in the gold rush were selling buckets and shovels. Like,
True, right?
we're selling buckets
Everybody
and
needs
shovels.
the tools.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's my perspective on it personally. Like, owning the offers are great. You get a lot of control. You learn a lot. But you got to be able to sustain it.
Yeah. Well, the way that you built a network, it really doesn't apply to modern day marketing. I think the earlier days, it was trying to own your offer. Nowadays, it's impossible to be a healthcare company, and you can't be all those companies.
Yeah.
So that's why what you built makes total sense, because you get to take all the hot trends that are out there and all the hot verticals. I mean, who would have thought that debt would be a huge vertical?
Booming.
Booming.
Okay. I remind you, it is booming, everybody.
There's a lot of broke people out there.
Yes.
And it's crazy to think that the more broke people are, there's always a Jamal making that Inc. 5000, number 33. Thank you all for being in debt. Because it's funny, because the people that are the most in debt, that pays more as a lead.
We were just at a debt office this morning, and this office is probably about 600 people. At least 600 people were in this office, and they're enrolling over $500 million of debt a month.
Wow.
$500 million of debt is going into their programs across unsecured debt, across medical debt, across student loan debt, tax debt, all of these different niches where people are really, really in tough spots. Like, they need this help. Like, they do. Yeah. And the product is designed to help people in a lot of unique situations. And like, when you think about debt specifically, this is how granular it gets. So like, in financial services is where debt sets in within our category. You have tax debt, you have debt settlement, you have debt validation, you have credit repair. Like, all of these verticals,
all under that one category of debt.
And they all kind of feed each other. They all feed each other. And most of the really big operations, they do everything.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Whatever the consumer needs, we'll direct them wherever they need to go.
So what do you think, because we're about to wrap this up, what would you say right now? Somebody signs up for EDM Network.
Yeah.
What's the hottest thing you have in there right now for them to make a fortune? What's the number one?
Oh, we have this auto insurance traffic offer right now. People are printing money, okay? It's direct with the insurance carrier. So they have way higher CPA tolerances than a lot of these other agencies. Mm-hmm. They're paying $30 on a quote request. The highest payout that exists in the market right now.
Wow.
As far as auto insurance traffic, everything else in the market is paying less than 15.
I love it.
This is paying twice the market rate. Easy, very short journey and flow. That would be the number one offer. Followed by that one would be this beautiful pendant Metalert jewelry piece.
Oh, really?
Oh, man. Because when you think about Metalert, it's like old and prehistoric, old lanyard-looking things with little plastic tips. Most seniors don't want to be viewed that way where, they're looked at upon.
So they're cool looking now?
Beautiful, 18-karat necklaces. Nice. The device is an actual, like, pendant looks like jewelry.
Oh.
That people get.
And that's a rebuild model? So
yeah, it's reoccurring.
Nice.
That's a rebuild model. That one, it does very, very well.
Do you think, so anybody that signs up with you that's working that vertical, they get rebuilds on that?
It'll be a one-time commission, but you can sell multiple products.
Right.
Which does become reoccurring for a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
So that one works well.
That's cool, though. I had no idea that you could bling out, my mom's Metalert button.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
It won't be iced out, but
right.
it looks beautiful and it's classy. And it's exactly what you would want your mother to wear. Yeah. Where, you have GPS live monitoring for her. You'll be able to have her have a one-click SOS alert, so you would be able to get notified. ADT would get notified directly for support.
It's Maybe you can make my mom's pimp cup out of her coffee mug and put a little meddler button on it. You know what I mean? Because she's always got that decaf coffee. Who drinks decaf? But she's got to have it.
She liked the flavor.
She liked the flavor. Anyway, Jamal, thank you for being a guest on the D-Money Show. We're going to start a whole series of these with you.
Yeah.
This is just the first of many good things to come. And keep blowing it up, man. It's fun to watch. I enjoy it.
I appreciate it, Darren. Thank you, man.
Awesome. Thanks for being a guest.
Hey, thank you, guys.